Hey everyone, Telander here, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Ostium Sagas. Did you know you can get access to a bunch more unreleased Ostium Sagas content? It's easy, just become a supporting patron at the $5 level and above on the Ostium Network Patreon at patreon.com/ostiumpodcast. On our Patreon, you'll get access to many new episodes of the Ostium Sagas you haven't heard before, as well as a bunch of other bonus content. Once again, that's patreon.com/ostiumpodcast. Now, I'd just like to thank some of our new patrons for supporting the Ostium Network. Thank you to Rob, Jedia Care, Bobby, Maggie, and Liloberry for supporting us. We really appreciate it. Okay, let's get this Ostium Sagas episode started, shall we? The Ostium Sagas. '48, Saga 3, 66 million years ago. Recorders Endnote, Part 3. To L. Harcourt at marquette.edu. From Steve Chase at hotmail.com. Subject: 5 questions. Dear Professor Harcourt, so it feels like we've gotten to know each other pretty decently now. We've entered into each other's confidences, and I think it's fair to say we trust each other now, and know what we might hear from the other, as outlandish and hard to believe it might seem. Because of said trust, we know we can believe what we're hearing. As I mentioned, I think once or twice to you, I've got a couple million questions for you and your timeline and the conclave, but obviously that's not really going to work. Time may be relative and flexible, but both you and I are still very mortal, and therefore subject to the whims of time. Although there is that rejuvenation procedure here at the Ostium Network that does literally add years to your life expectancy, and if you're interested in that, you only have to ask and I'll do my best to answer you. Anyway, instead I've decided to limit myself to 5 questions at a time, and I think you should do the same when wanting to ask me. I did check with our quantum artificial intelligence, Jean, about there being a way to have direct back and forth communication between us, but they said it simply wasn't possible with our divergent timelines, and that this communication system, albeit a little slow and cumbersome, was the best way to do it. Hence, only 5 questions. That way the message won't have to be too long, and we can have a more rapid back and forth communication with each other. So here are my 5 questions for you. 1. When was the conclave actually started? 2. Has it always been such a secret and powerful force to be reckoned with throughout its existence? 3. Has the Ostium Sagas been digitized? 4. Other than the Ostium Sagas, what else is the conclave involved in? And 5. Who are the lead actors in the original series to the television show Star Trek? I know some of these questions might be a little too much, or at least make the conclave uncomfortable about answering, but I remind you what I already shared with you, and the level of secrecy this quantum oral program uses. Also, the last question may seem a bit strange, but it's to do with our different timelines, and my being curious and nothing more, I promise you. Best regards, Steve Chase. Time was on my side once again, and I received a detailed response from Harcourt in less than 30 seconds. Bloody impressive, that.
To Steve Chase at hotmail.com from L. Harcourt at marquette.edu. Subject: 5 answers and 5 questions more. Dear Steve, When you're given carte blanche to ask whatever you like, you don't hold back, do you? Have no fear, I say this in jest. You shall receive your due answers forthwith. But first I wanted to let you know, as I'm sure you can understand, I had to confer with the Conclave first on whether I'd be allowed to answer these questions. After a short deliberation, they returned and gave me their blessing. So let's get started then. Question 1. When did the Conclave originate? A good question, deserving of a good answer. Understand that I have researched answers to each of these questions to ensure the utmost truth and accuracy in my responses. A basic form of the Conclave, with a handful of founding members, came into existence in the ancient city of where the great rivers of the Euphrates and Tigris converge. While we sadly do not know the exact date or even year when the Conclave began, an approximation can be made in relation to the founding of in the year 3800 BCE. While you did not directly ask how we know this about the Conclave or why it came into being, I shall answer these questions nevertheless. Consider them bonus answers, a boon, if you will. How we know when the formation of the Conclave began are through stone tablets inscribed in cuneiform and other ancient languages telling of its inception. Naturally, no museum has ever been in possession of these tablets, as they have remained in the careful possession of the Conclave since its founding. And now they sit in a carefully preserved environment in one of our hidden vaults located somewhere across the globe. I can honestly tell you that I am not even privy to their precise locations. As to the reason for the inception of the Conclave, I do not want to go into too great a detail here, as I'm saving the particularly juicy details in an answer to your second question. What I can say is the Conclave was founded with the goal of keeping secrets, of keeping facts and details that it deemed too powerful, too dangerous for the general populace to know. That in so knowing could potentially set off a series of incendiary and possibly even dangerous events. So the founding members, consisting of 9 people, 4 men, 4 women, and 1 who identified as neither male nor female. Again, we know this for a fact thanks to these invaluable tablets and the details they hold. And before you ask, yes, their translation was conducted with the utmost care and accuracy, and has been corroborated and supported throughout the centuries and millennia. These founding members hailed from a diverse variety of origins and came together with this goal in mind: to protect the ignorant.